Stop. What I am about to tell you will expose the most terrifying truth of the modern age. The truth that humanity has willingly turned itself into an army of zombies. You think you're free? You think you control your life? You think you watch short videos by your own choice? No, you are a slave. The most perfect slave in human history. A slave who doesn't know they are enslaved. Worse, a slave who loves their slavery and defends it. Today I will show you how a handful of corporations enslaved your mind with 3 simple letters. TikTok. How they turned your brain into a dopamine factory. How they stole your time, your attention, your soul. But most importantly, I will show you the path to liberation. If, of course, you have the willpower to listen until the end and not switch to yet another short video. Let's go. Every second, billions of human beings on planet Earth perform the same gesture. They pick up a small device and begin endless scrolling. Up, down, like zombies, like robots, like addicts getting their next hit. They do it in the subway and buses, instead of looking out the window and thinking. They do it at meals, instead of tasting their food. They do it before sleep and the moment they wake up. They do it during conversations with loved ones, during walks, during the most important moments of their lives. They traded life for its surrogate, reality for simulation, depth for surface, and the scariest part, they think it's normal. They think it's entertainment. They don't understand that they've become victims of the most sophisticated experiment in controlling human consciousness in the history of our species. Listen carefully. What you call watching short videos is, in fact, the process of destroying your brain. Every scroll, every switch from one clip to another, physically reshapes your neurons. You are literally reprogramming your mind to be incapable of deep thought. You are turning yourself into a digital cripple. Your brain is not a computer that can process infinite data. It is a living system shaped by what you feed it. And you are feeding it informational junk food. Cheap, fast, meaningless, addictive. Each short video is a blow to your ability to focus. Your brain gets used to receiving a new dose of stimulation every 15 to 30 seconds. And when it's not there, it demands it, like an addict demands a fix. You've lost the ability to be alone with yourself. You've lost the ability for deep concentration. You've lost the ability to think. Do you know what happens to your brain when you watch short videos? Your dopamine system starts working like a casino. Every new clip is a spin of the slot machine. You don't know what you'll see next. And that unpredictability makes your brain release dopamine, the hormone of anticipated reward. But here's the devilish trick of the system. The real reward never comes. You're always waiting for something truly interesting, but all you get is emptiness. And the more emptiness you consume, the more your brain craves it. You've fallen into the trap of false satisfaction. Your dopamine system burns out. Normal joys of life, talking with a friend, reading a book, walking in nature, can no longer compete with the artificial intensity of short videos. You lose the ability to enjoy simple but profound things. You become a dopamine addict. And like any addict, you need ever larger doses to get the same effect. Yesterday, an hour of scrolling was enough. Today, you need 2. Tomorrow, 4. The day after, you'll do it all day. And in the end, you'll wake up an old man who wasted his entire life watching other people's lives. But let me give you a cultural example. Remember the ancient myth of the sirens. These creatures enchanted sailors with their singing, and the sailors abandoned their course, forgot their purpose, and perished in whirlpools. TikTok is the modern siren. It sings sweet songs, makes you forget everything that matters, and smashes your life against the rocks of illusion. Look at the great figures of the past. Imagine Leonardo da Vinci with a phone in his hand, endlessly scrolling reels. Imagine Socrates, instead of contemplating the meaning of life, watching teenagers dance. Imagine Buddha under the Bodhi tree, holding TikTok. Absurd? Of course, because these people understood that greatness is born in silence, in depth. Einstein spent hours pondering one problem. Michelangelo worked for years on a single fresco. Tolstoy spent decades writing war and peace. They knew what modern humanity has forgotten. Depth requires time. And you? You can't sit for even 5 minutes without reaching for your phone. Your maximum attention span has shrunk to that of a goldfish. You've become an intellectual cripple. And here's where the example of practice matters. In Japanese Zen tradition, there is the practice of seated meditation, zazen. A person simply sits and observes their breathing. For a modern person addicted to short videos, this is torture. But for a Zen master, it is the path to enlightenment. Do you understand? What the ancients considered the key to wisdom is already inaccessible to you because of your addiction. And the saddest part, you don't even realize the scale of your own degradation. You walk down the street, and instead of noticing the beauty of the world around you, you stare at a screen. You ride on public transport, and instead of thinking, dreaming, planning, you consume digital garbage. You lie in bed, and instead of falling asleep with gratitude for the day lived, you scroll until your eyes glue shut from exhaustion. You've turned every free minute into a session of digital addiction. And now here's the most terrifying truth. You don't do this because you want to. You do it because you're forced to. Algorithms know your brain better than you do. They know exactly what will make you watch the next video, and the next, and the next. They've turned your attention into a product sold to advertisers. You are not a user of their platforms. You are their product. Your brain, your time, your life. That's what they sell. And while you think you're being entertained, they earn billions by destroying your consciousness. Do you know what happens to children raised on short videos? Their brains form under constant stimulation. They are physically incapable of prolonged concentration. They can't read books. They can't study. They can't think deeply. We are creating a generation of digital idiots. A generation that knows everything about influencers' lives, but nothing about their own. That can repeat thousands of memes, but cannot form a single original thought. That constantly entertains itself and never truly lives. And here it's useful to recall ancient practices of concentration. In Hinduism, there is Tritaka, meditation on the flame of a candle. A person must sit, unblinking, staring at the fire until their eyes fill with tears. It's a training of attention and will. Now imagine a teenager raised on TikTok trying this. Their mind, conditioned to images changing every 15 seconds, would explode with boredom within a minute. They wouldn't last. They are slaves to their own nervous system. Look at yourself honestly. How many hours do you spend on short videos? 3, 5, 8. In a year, that's thousands of hours. In a lifetime, tens of thousands. Imagine what you could create with that time. What book you could write. What skill you could master. What relationships you could build. What dream you could bring to life. But instead, you watch strangers dance, eat, travel, live their lives. You became a professional spectator of other people's existence. You stopped being the actor of your own life and became the audience of someone else's. You traded creation for consumption, depth for entertainment, wisdom for noise. And the most horrifying thing, you started to believe it's normal. No, it's not normal. It's a catastrophe. It's an epidemic. It's a digital plague that eats human consciousness from within. When you watch short videos, your brain does not rest. It works in constant stress mode, processing streams of meaningless information. Your nervous system depletes. Your capacity for empathy atrophies. Your creativity dies. You become a biorobot programmed for content consumption. And do you know what's most tragic? You defend your addiction. When someone tells you about the harm of short videos, you answer, "It's just entertainment. I'm in control. It helps me relax." That's not your reason speaking. That's your addiction. Every addict finds an excuse for their habit. Every slave finds a reason to love their chains. History has seen this before. When Romans were given gladiator games, bread, and circuses, they also thought it was entertainment. They didn't realize it was turning them into obedient spectators without the strength to change their lives. And now look, 2,000 years have passed, but the method is the same. Only instead of the Colosseum, you have a smartphone screen. But you have a choice. Right now, in this very second, you can continue destroying your brain with digital narcotics. Or you can begin restoring your humanity. You can break free from the matrix. But for that, you'll need courage. The courage to admit that you are addicted. The courage to accept that you've lost control of your own life. The courage to face the emptiness that has formed in your consciousness. Most people will never find this courage. They will scroll until the day they die. They will die never knowing what it means to truly live. But you are not most people. Otherwise, you wouldn't have listened this far. Inside you still burns the spark of a real human being. A spark capable of igniting into the flame of authentic life. But to do that, you must act. Right now. Because every minute you spend on short videos is a minute stolen from your real life. Every hour of scrolling is an hour you could have spent creating something meaningful. Every day lost in digital fog is a day you will never live again. Time is the only resource that cannot be restored, and you are squandering it on digital trash. Imagine yourself 10 years from now. Are you still scrolling? Still watching other people live their lives? Still feeding on false satisfaction from consuming content? Or will you finally begin to live, to create, to love, to think, to be present in every moment of your existence? The choice is yours. But remember, every day of inaction is a vote in favor of digital slavery. Now I'll give you a concrete plan of liberation. But I warn you, it will be painful. Any detox is painful. You will feel anxiety, boredom, inner emptiness. That's normal. That's a sign your brain is beginning to heal. Step 1. Create barriers. Remove your phone from the bedroom. Set strict times when devices are forbidden. Create gadget-free zones in your home. Step 2. Replace the habit. When your hand reaches for the phone, do something else. Read a book. Meditate. Write in a journal. Exercise. Step 3. Rebuild concentration. Start with 5 minutes of deep work or reading, gradually increasing the time. Your brain must relearn how to focus. Step 4. Fill the emptiness with meaning. Find an activity bigger than yourself. Creativity, service, learning. Something that gives deep fulfillment, not shallow pleasure. The first days will feel like hell. You'll feel like an addict without a fix. You'll think you're missing out. That something important is happening and you're not in the loop. But that's an illusion. Nothing important is happening in short videos. Nothing. Ever. After a week, you'll notice you can concentrate longer. After a month, you'll see the world as brighter, more interesting. After 3 months, you'll discover thoughts you never had before. And after a year, you'll realize you've taken your life back. A real life. Deep, meaningful, creative. And there is cultural confirmation of this. Look at the practice of the Sufis, Daikar, the repetition of the name of God hundreds or thousands of times. It seems monotonous, but in that depth they find ecstasy. And you can't even handle 3 minutes of silence. Yet it is precisely there, into depth, into concentration, that the path to freedom lies. You will stop being a zombie and become human again. But remember, this will not happen on its own. Corporations have spent billions of dollars studying how to make you addicted. They know every weakness of your brain. They will fight for your attention. You must fight for your freedom. Every day, every minute, every time your hand reaches for the phone, you are making a choice. Freedom or slavery, life or simulation, depth or surface. And every time you choose freedom, you become stronger. Every time you resist temptation, you reclaim a piece of your soul. In the end, you will realize that life without the digital drug is 1,000 times richer than life with it. You will rediscover the joy of reading, the pleasure of a long conversation with a friend, the bliss of a walk without a phone, the happiness of creating something with your own hands. You will remember what it feels like to be present, here, now, in this moment, in your real life. And then you will realize you were dead, and now you are alive again. History remembers those who have already walked this path. A monk in a Tibetan monastery, sitting in silence in a cave for years. An Athonite elder, endlessly reciting prayers. A Christian hermit retreating into the desert for the sake of depth. They all knew freedom begins where dependence ends. Today, your desert is a world without a screen. Your monasticism is the courage not to scroll. Your prayer is concentration on the present. And if you take the first step, you will become part of a new revolution. Not a digital one, but a human one. A revolution of consciousness,